We are now just around 48 hours till game time, folks, and these are my injury expectations after talking to sources in and around the Michigan football program. Blake Corum isn't practicing this week. It's going to be a game time decision. His knee was really swollen up. Even on those videos Sunday, we saw him handing out turkeys to folks in Ypsilanti, so he will be a game time decision. I expect Michigan to do everything they can to get him in the lineup, but he won't be practicing. It is not to tweak that knee any further, so we will see really on Saturday morning. I expect him to make the trip, but whether or not he is in the lineup on the field, we will see at game time. Diamond Edwards, expect him to play. Expect him to be close to healthy, perfectly healthy from a running perspective, but don't be surprised if you see some sort of apparatus on his hand and his arm. We've speculated a little bit on what the injury is on past videos. And Mike Morris, 80 to 90%, but will play is what we're hearing now 48 hours prior to Michigan, Ohio State, noon Eastern on Saturday, the game of the century. We are going to dive into my 5 keys to beating Ohio State again here in the Michigan Football Report from Chat Sports right now. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food, folks? Let me know. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Hoping you're having an enjoyable day with your family, taking some time to relax, watching a little NFL football. Lions getting kicked off around right now, and a couple other games later. Cowboys, Giants coming up after that. Let me know what your favorite Thanksgiving food is. I don't know. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food, Brett? Probably just turkey, actually. I don't have a ton of turkey throughout the year. Mashed potatoes. I eat the whole setup. I like mashed potatoes. The 3-pack of mashed potatoes, gravy, on both that and the turkey, plus stuffing. I'm a big stuffing guy. As long as it's got a good gravy on it. And then everything else is just kind of, it's there, the corn, the cranberry, everything like that. So let me know down in the comments your favorite Thanksgiving food. Now, we are going to talk about my 5 keys to beating Ohio State again. And I went back and watched this same video from last year. You can go back and do it. It was literally on Thanksgiving Day last year, 2 days before the Michigan-Ohio State game in 2021. I was wildly accurate, so I have no doubt that my predictions, including my score prediction, will be as accurate this year as it was last year. Now, I have been told by sources in and around college football and YouTube that however many subscribers we get, new subscribers to the channel today, is going to equate to what Michigan scores on the field at Ohio State tomorrow. So typically on any video, we get 25 to 35 new subscribers. I don't know, maybe 40, 50 of you guys want to hit that subscribe button if you're a Michigan football fan. We will have a video today. We've got one coming up tomorrow as well, and the fastest post-game show in college football immediately after Michigan-Ohio State tomorrow. So subscribe to the channel. I'll let you guys know on Friday evening or so how many subscribers we got, because that's how many points Michigan's going to score tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/MichiganTV. Just hit that subscribe button right below today's video. All right. Before we dive into my top 5 keys to beating Ohio State, I just want to reiterate a point I've made in the past of why I think under Ryan Day, Ohio State doesn't have that same mentality in this rivalry and maybe that advantage that they have had for much of the past 2 decades with Ohio State, Ohio guy Jim Tressel, Ohio native Urban Meyer as well. Ryan Day's from New Hampshire, okay? I'm not even confident that before taking the job as Ohio State's offensive coordinator and QB coach in 2017, I have not seen evidence that Ryan Day had ever stepped foot in the state of Ohio other than professionally for a game, a road game, okay? So Ryan Day has no interest in this rivalry, really doesn't probably care that much about Ohio State. I'm not even sure he knows the fight song at this point. CJ Stroud, he's from California. He's from LA. That's why we call him Coldridge Stroud. If the weather on Saturday is below 35, guaranteed loss for Ohio State. He has never won a game when the temperature is 34 degrees or below. How about Travion Henderson, their 5-star running back from Virginia? Okay, cool. Jackson Smith and Jigba? Oh, he's an Ohio guy, right? No. Texas guy. Do you think he's ever watched an Ohio State-Michigan game before he played in one last year? Doubtful. Doubtful to say the least. So I would think that if you look at this Ohio State football team across the board, and I just mentioned the big names there, right? Outside of their wide receiver coach, you got to look at their whole staff, their star players, their offensive guys, their defensive guys, their new defensive coordinator. They just don't have guys who have experience winning in this rivalry or explaining to their players what it means to win in this rivalry. All these guys are coming for is to try and play for whatever school can give them the most NIL money and potentially put them in the National Football League the fastest. But you know what? Michigan's been putting a lot of guys in the NFL lately, just as many as Ohio State, maybe not as many first-round draft picks, but overall NFL guys, they're right there at the top with Alabama, Georgia, LSU over the past 4 years. So Ohio State, I'm calling them Carpetbagger U. They are just mercenaries. They don't care about this rivalry, and that's why it's not going to matter as much to them tomorrow on Saturday, and why I think Michigan with, plenty of guys, Mike Hart, Jim Harbaugh, played at the school. You go over to Ron Bellamy and others on that coaching staff, played at Michigan. Tons of guys in this roster play in the state of Michigan from the state of Ohio. How about Rod Moore? You don't think he wants some more revenge against Ohio State after getting that first win last year? Ohio State, Carpetbagger U. It doesn't hurt these players at all, I think, if they lose to Michigan, and that's why they're not going to come with enough passion and fury that it's going to take to beat a Michigan team that I think is going to come in there with their hair on fire and get the victory in Ohio Stadium on Saturday. My number one key to beating Ohio State is to score 35 points. I think that is the number that I have seen looking at all the Ohio State tape, just kind of figuring out who they score a lot against, who they've struggled against. You think about Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, Northwestern, kind of an outlier here or there, Penn State. Look at the defense Penn State played until kind of all of a sudden with 8-9 minutes left, Ohio State scored a touchdown. Then there was 2 turnovers by Penn State down the stretch. The game got away from them. Ohio State ended up scoring 40-plus points. But it had not been for a couple turnovers late, Ohio State would have struggled to score 30. They'd probably been like a 31-28, 31-24 kind of game. I put the number at 35 points. Michigan gets 35. They should win this game because I think what Michigan did last year was set up the blueprint for beating Ohio State in a lot of ways, which is don't let them just kind of blitzkrieg you. Don't let them become the Golden State Warriors or anything like that, where they can just drop 30 points on you like that. So 35 points, that is my number, folks, for this Michigan football team. You get 35 points and you get a victory against Ohio State. Today's Michigan Football Report is presented by Kamikoto Knives, folks. Kamikoto makes great Japanese steel kitchen knives using traditional techniques that have been honed and perfected by a generation of knifesmiths. Knives come in a heavy-duty ash wood box, which makes it a great gift this holiday season. Each knife is individually inspected, and they are so confident in their product that they come with a lifetime guarantee. Kamikoto knives are carefully polished. Both blade and handle are satin finish, making them smooth as silk. They are wickedly sharp and perfect for slicing meats and vegetables to prepare an amazing meal on every Michigan game day. Kamikoto knives are used by Michelin star chefs all over the world, and they are having a huge holiday sale right now. Plus, my viewers can get an extra $50 off on any purchase and free shipping with discount code CHAT. Go to kamikoto.com/chat to get your knives and help support the show. The link is in the comments and the description below. Thanks so much to Kamikoto for sponsoring today's video. Want to make sure you guys see that that ashwood box. Take a look at that bad boy. And these knives, folks, are super high quality. They are awesome. And as I mentioned, they come with a certificate of authenticity right there, high quality. Look at this bad boy. I cannot wait to make my holiday meals using my new set of Kamikoto knives. Go to kamikoto.com/chat, $50 off and free shipping. All right, thanks so much to today's sponsor. Want to ask you guys to comment Bosa beat Ohio State again, and shout out to the day one crew. Right, there is about 400 viewers that literally comment Bosa on nearly every single video. They've been doing it for 2.5 years. So if you're one of the day one Bosa crews, you got that Bosa life. Bosa. Give yourself a round of applause. Make sure you are celebrating this Thanksgiving, knowing that Ohio State hasn't beat Michigan in over 1,000 days. And after this year, folks, it's going to be close to 1,500 by the time they get their next chance next November in Michigan Stadium, where I believe Michigan will come into that game favored over the Buckeyes, as they are replacing a lot of players, most notably the quarterback CJ Stroud, and won't probably have the offensive firepower that they're going to have this year that Michigan, I think, will shut down. Speaking of Coldridge Stroud, the one of the, I think, the mentally weaker quarterbacks I've seen at the top levels of college football. Every time I see him, he's talking to reporters, he looks like he's all like shriveled up and he's sad and he doesn't want to be there. Anytime he gets hit, you see he just looks like a dog who you yelled at that peed on the carpet. Imagine you yelling at your dog, like, Lola, you shouldn't pee in the carpet, right? Or something like that, or chewed a toy, or chewed anything like that. That's CJ Stroud anytime he hits adversity. Now, on last year's video, the same day, same video last year, I said you need to hit him 10 times. Now, Michigan didn't do that, but what they did was sacked him 4 times. 3 of those coming from Aiden Hutchinson, 1 coming from Ojabo. David Ojabo, as Gus Johnson famously said to end last year's game. But they also hit him on pass plays 4 other times, forced 2 Stroud fumbles, which he didn't, lose either one of those. Ohio State recovered both of those Stroud fumbles last year, but 8 hits. They did that to him last year. I think that number will be enough to get the win. So hit Stroud, but you got to hit him early because I think being so mentally weak, he is a guy, he's like a cryptocurrency trader. When Doge is going to the moon, Stroud's just buying more. The second it kind of tapers off, it dips a little, he doesn't know what to do. He's taking losses left and right. So you hit him once or twice in the first quarter, you get a sack. He is going to be dropping back, not even drop back in the pocket, shotgun basically every snap for him. The second Michigan hits Coldridge Stroud on Saturday, you get 1 hit, you get 2 hits. Every time that ball gets into his hand, he's going to be rushing passes. He's going to be worried that Mike Morris or another Michigan defender is coming down heavy on him from behind, and he's going to be making mistakes and getting rid of the ball too early and not making the kind of plays that are going to be needed to beat this Michigan defense. Last year I said 175 yards. I think Michigan needs more this year. Now, they don't have the offensive guarantee, the health guarantee that they did last year, right? Hassan Haskins came into this game completely healthy for the most part last year. And Blake Corum had missed a couple games prior, but we were pretty confident. And he was hobbled a little bit, but still got 80 yards last year, 87 on 6 carries, what Corum got last year. Hassan, legendary performance, 28 carries, 169, and 5 touchdowns. I think because of Michigan's struggle passing the ball really the last month or so, and the fact that this is a road game against the number 2 team in the country like they were last year that's favored by a touchdown. But the fact that it's a road game and it's not going to be as bad of weather from what it seems like right now, I think Michigan needs a little bit more of a bump to make sure they win this game. So 225 is the number that I'm putting on this Michigan team. Now, last year, 297 on 41 carries, averaged 7.2 yards per carry, 6 rushing touchdowns is what Michigan had against Ohio State last year. And typically in this rivalry, whoever rushes the most yards wins this game, despite Ohio State being more of a passing team in recent years. In the games they've won against Michigan prior to last year in 2020, it's been most of them, they would always run very well on Michigan. So I ask you guys this question: who will have more rushing yards in Saturday's game? If it's Michigan, the Wolverines, the number 3 Wolverines, going for back-to-back Big Ten championships, give me an M. If it is the Carpetbagger Ohio State Buckeyes, whose most of their players don't even know what the campus looks like because they've never stepped on it. They take online classes. They go to Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and they go back to their apartment. They never even step out on campus. Carpetbaggers, go ahead and type O. Give me an M. Give me an O. Who has more rushing yards in Saturday's game, Michigan or Ohio State? I think Michigan on the road, they're going to need a big-time special teams play. Now, A.J. Henning didn't play last week, right? Ronnie Bell was back there returning punts for the first time since the opener of the 2021 season, which he got hurt on in that first game and hasn't really returned punts since then. But A.J. Henning took over that role, and then now Bell was back in there. So we're not sure, and I really haven't heard anything on Henning's status going into Saturday. But if you remember last year, special teams and turnovers really didn't play a part of that game. And with what Michigan did on the ground, 300 yards rushing and 6 rushing touchdowns, I think that was enough at home with the weather concerns, etc. But we forget, Stroud did throw for 394 yards, 34 of 49, 394, and 2 touchdowns. And one other thing I forgot, it's not related to special teams, but I didn't really realize till this morning. I just blocked this out. Michigan was up 7-0 in the first quarter, 8.5 minutes, 9 minutes left at the 15-yard line, going into score, potentially going up 14-0. And Cade McNamara did himself throw an interception, trying to hit Roman Wilson on a slant pattern. Ohio State safety kind of stepped up, intercepted it. Ohio State, they had those 2 or 3 miracle catches last year, and that interception that I kind of blocked out of my brain. Michigan could have scored 50 or more last year based on that interception and those lucky plays. So I don't think it was even as close as the 15-point score, kind of shook out. But thinking of special teams, what does this mean? It probably means a high-impact kickoff return, high-impact punt return, or multiple punt returns, which Michigan has really struggled on this year so far. There haven't been many impactful plays. Remember back to last year's Maryland game, right? Remember the lateral across the field? That was a big-time play. Michigan had a bunch of different block punts last year. Not as many this year, as you probably had the best special teams unit in all of college football last year. Not a bad special teams unit this year. Last year you had great return team, great kick blocking team, and the best punter and kicker in college football. Moody's lived up to the billing, but everything else has kind of just been just there, not great, not terrible. So I expect if Michigan's going to win it, they're going to need to block a punt or have one or multiple kick returns, either punt or kickoff, that can put them in great field position to score touchdowns again. We're going to be watching the game on Saturday. I'm going to be watching the first half at home, so I'm going to kind of do an H and then an O. My typical strategy, if I'm not at the game, is I watch the first half from home, do my Twitter halftime show, and then head to the Chat Sports office and watch the second half while we prepare our post-game show. So let me know where you guys are watching. S for you going to the game, the Snake Pit, Ohio Stadium, one of the worst places on planet Earth, the Afghanistan of the United States. Watching from home, type H. The bar, give me a B. Or if you're watching at a friend's house, go ahead and type F, S, H, B, or F down in the comments. I think SBF in my ear. That's that guy. He's the CJ Stroud of crypto. So I think that Michigan does need to force turnovers in this game. Ohio State's offense, they'll probably be missing one or more of their better players, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'm not expecting him to play. They've got three running backs, Dallin Hall, Travion Henderson, Mayan Williams, all who have had 100-yard games this season. Henderson was, by many people's accounts, the best running back or one of the best 2 or 3 coming into the season. He hasn't really performed at all this year, looked, injured in the game against Maryland. Forced 2 turnovers, whether that's a Stroud interception, which I really think hitting him, intercept him. Remember back to the Oregon game last year, right in that first half, one of the things that got Stroud off his, kind of his rhythm in the first half against Oregon is he threw that early interception, and there were spatterings of boos in Ohio Stadium. So get an interception, I think, is vital. Or 2 fumbles last year by Stroud. Michigan's just got to recover those bad boys. Now, I'm not saying they can't win, right? Michigan lost the turnover battle last year. 1 turnover for Michigan, none for Ohio State, but they still got the win because of that great running attack. So all these things, independently, do they all have to happen for a victory? No, but 3 or 4 of these things happen. I think Michigan gets the victory, 2-score victory in Ohio Stadium and advances to the Big Ten championship game. Folks, Ohio State, they can be beat at home. I know there's this or around Ohio State. Michigan hasn't been able to do it in 2 decades. But outside of the 2018 game, which, I don't know, I was there in the stadium. As I said, I walked in that stadium 40 minutes before the game. Michigan's warming up. And it just felt so awkward. I kind of felt like I looked at the Michigan sideline, Michigan side of the field warming up. I felt like the blood had been drawn from their bodies. I'm like, this is odd. This is just weird. And Ohio State was just getting up, getting rowdy, getting after it, hitting each other on the pads and all that stuff. So, Ohio State can't be beat at home. They were beat last year by Oregon, right? And that ended up being a 1-score game. It should have been potentially more. Ohio State got a few lucky bounces. And it's happened plenty of times over the past few years. Now, Ryan Day hasn't really taken losses. That Oregon game last year is his only loss at home. But plenty of teams. Michigan State's beat him down there. Hell, even Virginia Tech beat him a while back there. So it can be done. Oklahoma a few years back came into Ohio Stadium and beat Ohio State. It can be done, and I think Jim Harbaugh, out of all those teams that have gone into Ohio Stadium over the past 6, 8, 10 years and beat Ohio State, Harbaugh is the one that, at least seemingly, spends 364 days preparing for Ohio State and then 1 day playing them, where I don't think those other teams are spending more than maybe a week or 2 per season preparing for Ohio State. And just think about this really quick. Other than 2018, when Michigan got absolutely blown up by Ohio State, 2016, JT was short. 2014, that was the interesting game. Weird. Michigan kept it really close, and Ohio State punched a touchdown in, ended up winning 42-28. Okay, Michigan had a chance to win that one, but Ohio State kind of just had a 1-score lead the entire game. 2012, Michigan went into the halftime with a lead, and I thought had all the momentum going to get the win over an undefeated Ohio State team, but just did nothing on offense in the second half. We're going to take out 2010, 2008, the Rich Rod years. 2006, 42-39 right there. And 2002, 13-9. Ohio State won their national championship year. I don't think about 2004 because, remember, Michigan went in against Ohio State in 2004 and had already clinched the Big Ten championship. And Ohio State was like 7-4 or something like that, but somehow just waxed Michigan. I can't even remember the score of that game. It was like 37-21, where Michigan was wildly more talented than the Buckeyes that year, but somehow they got the loss. So Michigan's been right there so many times. I think this is the year. Last year, they proved they could do it. Now this year, who's the pressure on? The pressure is all on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Their coaching staff knows they lose this one. That's 3 straight years not beating Michigan. They will be kind of on the hot seat. And then all of a sudden, it's the culture at Ohio State. There won't be any player. I don't know if there was any players on this roster. I'll have to look at it, that are starters at least, that were a starter in 2019, the last time they won. So Ohio State's got no starters to my knowledge. I'll look and double check for Friday's video that have ever beaten Michigan. And Michigan gets it done this year, folks. That's proven as the culture at Ohio State that they lose to Michigan. So I'm expecting Michigan to get the job done. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting out the next day and a half, and I will put my halftime video on Twitter at James Yoder. Halftime of the Michigan-Ohio State game, and then we'll be down here in the studio Saturday afternoon for a post-game show. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, folks. Until I see you tomorrow, go Blue.